Well, we are joined in the studio by Doctor Rosena Allin-Khan, who's a member of the UK Parliament, who actually worked as a doctor in the refugee camps in Bangladesh. Thank you for joining us. And also we're joined by the President and Editor-in-Chief of Reuters, Steve Adler. Steve, let's start with you, because of course this decision to talk about this, the evidence that the story that your journalists were investigating, it's a very big decision. It puts them in a difficult position, doesn't it? What was your thinking about going public with this?
Right. Well, look, we believe this was a story of global importance and that we had a responsibility to publish it. And our journalists in prison, Walun and Josu, fully support our decision to do this. It's essentially what journalists do. If you're going out there and reporting a story that really matters to people, you've got to publish it. People have to find out about it. And I think people who saw those images just now and heard the report will recognize this is something the world really needs to know about.
Dr. Allin-Khan, the government, the Myanmar government, have said that they're not giving blanket denials. What do you make of that?
I think, first of all, the evidence that has come to light tonight is very much in keeping with the testimonies that I heard when I was in the refugee camps, as well as the injuries that I saw as a doctor. I currently do not trust that the Myanmar government are going to conduct the necessary investigations. This marks a very important turning point. This is the first time we are hearing from the perpetrators of these crimes themselves, and I am certain that more such evidence is going to come to light.
Steve Adler, the government has, in their statement to you, they defended their operation in Rakhine. They talked about terrorist attacks, but of course your two journalists, the evidence that they heard disputed any form of terrorist attack.
Right. We're trying to report in an unbiased, independent way. So it's not a matter of us being for or against the government. It's more a matter of trying to find out exactly what was happening on the ground. And you'll note, and people who see the story on Reuters.com will see that it's sourced traditionally. We interviewed lots and lots of people, and I think one of the things so unique about the story is we interviewed Buddhist villagers, we interviewed members of the police and security forces, and we interviewed Rohingya Muslims, and the story that emerges from that is the story that we tell. And I think it's very compelling and very strongly backed by the facts.
Tell us a little bit more about the people that your journalists spoke to, because they're a wide breadth of people, including Buddhist villagers.
Right, and we think this was the first time that really a story like this got sourced, both by talking to Buddhists who were involved and in some cases were quite unhappy or quite concerned about what happened, and also to the military and the police, some of whom we identify by name as being involved in this. So it's not just a matter of talking to victims and hearing their stories and relying on them solely, but it's a matter of checking them against people who are Buddhist and who are security forces. And again, the story that emerged was a collective story that they all told. And the pictures that I know are very disturbing and very gruesome, but they support that as well. And I think that's part of the significance. Just to mention another thing I found very moving and powerful in this story, we identified all of the 10 people who were massacred, and we did a little bio on each of them, a little biography on each of them. They're real people. They're shopkeepers, they're fishermen, they're fish sellers. 2 of them are students under 18 years of age, and these were people who got caught up in this and who got executed.
Dr. Allin-Khan, how does this reflect? Of course, you've spent quite some time out there helping the people who have fled from Myanmar. When you hear about the victims, the students, the young people that were killed, how does that mirror what you were hearing from the refugees in the camps?
I met an imam who was imam for a village of 3,000 people, and he described a night when the military came into the village, threw babies, alive babies, into burning fires, killed all the men in a way described here in the evidence we're hearing tonight, and systematically raped the women. I met women who had to make difficult choices about whether to go and try and pull their burning child out of the fire or run with the child that they still had alive for their lives over the border into Bangladesh. We've even heard evidence just this weekend of mass graves being found and evidence of acid being used to dehumanise people, to burn off their faces. This is all evidence of genocide. Currently, we are bystanders to a genocide. We need to call this out for what this is. We need the perpetrators of these heinous crimes referred to the International Criminal Court, and nothing short of that will do.
Steve, when you've got the testimonies that the reporters have been gathering, in terms of the investigation moving forward, we're hearing the Myanmar government talk about they're willing to do their own investigation. Do you have any confidence in that?
We certainly hope and support the notion that this would be investigated. It's very important that people look into it. Would be very, very happy if the government looked into it. The other thing that's going on is governments all over the world are participating, and there was a very strong showing of diplomats from all over the world at the last court hearing. So I think there's global interest in it, and we certainly are supportive of any serious investigation. And I should say also that we're going to continue covering Myanmar. We've been covering it for years. We won a Pulitzer Prize for covering it in 2013. We won the 2014 Pulitzer for that. And that was about human trafficking in Rohingya Muslims as they were becoming refugees. So this story continues, and we're very committed to continuing to cover it. We know it's risky, but it's very, very important that the world see what's happening.
Okay, well, Steve Adler from Reuters, and also Dr. Rosena Allin-Khan, MP, British MP, who was out in the camps. Thank you very much, both of you,
Thank you.
for your time here on Newsday.